Ahoj, já jsem Eliška. Maybe you've already heard about the grammatical gender in Czech, but you don't really know what is it, how it works, what is it for. If this is the case, keep watching. I made 3 videos on this topic, and in the first one, which is today, we will talk about the grammatical gender in general. What is it? How do we use it? Now, there are specific rules that will help you determine the gender of Czech nouns, and also a few websites or printed dictionaries where you can look the gender up if you are not sure. If you are curious about these, make sure to watch the second and the third video. The grammatical gender exists in many languages. You can find it among others in Spanish, in German, in Latin, and it was used in English as well in the past, but it disappeared through time. Generally said, the grammatical gender is a way of categorizing nouns, and in Czech there are 3 classes, 3 different genders. We have masculine, feminine, and neuter. And in Czech, the masculine gender is then further divided into masculine animate for people or animals, and masculine inanimate for things, objects, ideas, or abstract words. Whenever we learn a new noun in Czech, we should always learn it together with its gender. Maybe you are wondering why is it so important to know the gender of Czech nouns when in English this category doesn't even exist. Well, in Czech it's crucial because the gender affects the form of some other words in a sentence. So you need to know the gender first to build your sentence correctly. Let me give you an example using 3 different nouns. Pán, which is masculine, paní, which is feminine, dítě, which is neuter. Now, if we want to say it's a man, it's a gentleman, it's a lady, and it's a child, we say to je pán, to je paní, to je dítě. So far so good, we don't need to know the gender, but this is because these are very basic examples. However, if I want to be more specific, like describing a noun with an adjective, for example, we already need the gender. Have a look. The word for nice in Czech is milý, and if I want to say it's a nice gentleman, I say to je milý pán. If I want to say it's a nice lady, I need to say to je milá paní. And it's a nice child would be to je milé dítě. You see that the adjective changes its ending depending on the gender of the noun it describes. Adjectives describing masculine nouns take the ending y with this little acute accent, which we call čárka, or in Czech we would say they take the ending e. Feminine adjectives take the ending a with čárka or a in Czech, and neuter adjectives take the ending e with čárka or e. Another example would be the demonstrative pronoun this. If you want to say this nice man, this nice lady, and this nice child, it would be ten milý pán, ta milá paní, and to milé dítě. It might look complicated, but using the grammatical gender is actually very useful. Let me show you something. We have an English sentence. The lady is in the city, the old one. And it can be a bit confusing because we don't know what old is referring to. Is it the lady or the city? In Czech, we would say ta paní je ve městě, ta stará. Notice that the form of the pronoun ta and the ending of the adjective stará gives us the information that it's referring to a feminine noun, thus to the word paní. Quite clever, isn't it? Now that we understand that we need to know the gender of all Czech nouns, the question is, how do we determine it? In these sentences, the grammatical gender is quite logical and predictable, because we talk about human beings, so we just follow their actual gender. This means that all words like pán, táta, kluk will be masculine, while words like paní, máma, holka, feminine. Offsprings are usually neuter, and this applies to a youngster as well, so dítě is neuter. Furthermore, when talking about nationalities or occupations, we distinguish between male and female, following the actual gender of the person. So the word for Czech man, Czech, will be masculine, while the word for Czech woman, Češka, is feminine. However, there are plenty of other words in the real world that don't possess any specific gender or have an abstract meaning. Words like čeština, město, nápad, pivo. Are these masculine, feminine, or neuter? The bad news is that you will need to learn the gender of each of these nouns by heart. But the good news is that there are a few simple rules that will help you guess the gender, and with a bit of practice you will be able to determine the gender of all Czech nouns pretty easily. I made another video on this topic where I explain all the rules in detail, so be sure to check it out. Recently, one of my Czech students, Kevin, shared his review of the book Through the Language class with me, wherein he also talks about gender. And I found it so interesting that I just have to share it with you. English is one of the rare languages that has no gender. Others include Hungarian and Indonesian. Some languages have two genders, most Romance languages, Spanish, Portuguese, Romanian, etc. Some have three, feminine, masculine and neuter, German, for example. And then some languages in Africa have up to 16, which can include feminine, masculine, big objects, little objects, liquids, vegetable, and so on. There is a language in Africa in which airplane belongs to the vegetable gender. Why, you ask? Because originally they used canoes for transport, which were made out of wood and therefore a vegetable. When different forms of non-animal transportation began to be more prevalent, cars, motorboats, planes, these all got lumped into the vegetable gender as well. So cool. And this is the process by which a lot of the non-standard feminine-masculine nouns in European languages came about. But often their path is so convoluted and/or antiquated that nowadays no one usually knows how any specific noun became a male or a female or a liquid or a vegetable. That's it for grammatical gender. We talked about what is it, how it works, and why do we need it. Check out my second video as we are going to do a deep dive and we will talk about how to determine the gender of Czech nouns. Zatím se mějte hezky, ahoj!